Forget fears, push through. Frame your positions on having fearlessness. Don't be a freakazoid, okay? Don't freak out. Throw a temper tantrum. Freedom from fear allows us to get to a better place in life. Flip the switch and push away fear. What do you have fear for? What do you fear for your life? Okay, you died. What's the problem? No, you're not going to die. You're going to live, and you're going to live a great life. Freedom disappears when we embrace all of our fears. You have to go work for it and not be stressed out over it. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Get going. Start. Have no fear. Find your purpose. Get out of fear. Being fearful has to be overcome. You go straight into action to negate that feeling. God gave us faith so we do not allow fear to come in. Fear is a projection of our deepest insecurities. It is not being God-fearing. God gave us greatness. God got us. God is our armor. And when you have faith, you're surrendering and giving into the opposite force of the divine. You have to walk with no fear. I believe that fear is my friend because it allows me to unleash my greatness. I don't fear or am afraid to achieve and to disappoint. No, because I honor the higher powers that be. I'm going to go right through that fear. I'm not going to have guilt for going through that fear. And I'm hardwired to go right through that. I don't care about the innate fears in life. Hate is fear. People who are lost have fear. Okay? Because they want to quit the second they hit with fear. People want to quit the second they have fear. They want to recoil. Right? How does that work? How do you deal with fear and failure? You just give up, you throw your hands up, you say, oh, I have anxiety or whatever. Okay, you may have anxiety, but you got to go right through it. Okay? These are hypothetical situations. This is a spin that somebody put to destabilize you because they knew what words to use to make you feel uncomfortable. So then you give up and they can go and do it. Do you want to live in fear? I don't want to live in fear. I go right for what I want. That allows me to eliminate fear. I don't need to explain my actions to anyone for anything unless I care about that situation and I want my points to be known. When we have fear of rejection, when we have fear of other people's opinion, you're not going to have a great life. You got to roll with the punches. You got to know that you deserve better and you're going to do better. Fear is like a jail that we impose on ourselves because we don't want to face those. Fear-induced action will never work. If you are infected with failure, it's because you've let fear pervade into one aspect of your life for all of your life. Anytime you have an infinite consciousness, you are not supposed to have fear. That should tell you whenever you have fear, you're not working hard enough, okay? You're just not working hard enough because fear wouldn't even come up because you'd be so focused and zoned in on what you're doing that you wouldn't even want to think about fear because you're so busy doing something. We see the light anytime the darkness of fear comes and tries to insinuate, whether mentally, whether externally, whether environmentally. Instead of pulling back, you got to go forward. You got to take that fear and stare right at it and say, I'm not afraid of you. I'm not pulling back. I'm not insulted. I'm not going to let interjections come in and hamper all the hard work that I've done. I'm not going to let intimidation or a mental prison. Many people live there. I'm not going to live there. Fear is a natural and basic emotion that is triggered by your perceived threats and your perceived feelings and your emotions and the danger you think is going to happen. But most of that time, that anxiety, that apprehension is a response to something that you may experience, that you don't experience. Fear is accompanied by psychological drama and pain. So you shouldn't even just enter it. It's like doing illicit activities. You shouldn't even enter it because it's going to pull you in and you're never going to get out. So you cannot have fear. You got to move through with faith. Fear is an illusion. Fear is fake. Fear is for fools. Fears is going to stop you. Fears is in your way. Your fears cannot be stronger than your determination. Fear is like fire. If you can't control it, it's going to burn you down. Fear, my friend, does not allow you to unleash your greatness. Fear is not part of my faith. Fear is not a primary emotion that I plan to harness. Okay? Fear is a total contradiction to success. It kills love. It kills everything that we touch because it is coming from a position of weakness and defense. You cannot win at life if you're constantly shaking in your boots. You got to put the work in that instills the confidence. Those habits that you follow daily are going to not allow when that fear comes to destabilize your emotional stability. Fear is what the devil uses so you don't hold yourself accountable, so you don't learn the lessons. The power you give fears is what power it will have upon you. Fear is what the devil uses so you do not go forward and live your best life. Leave behind who is not for you. Leave emotion out of your decisions. Be fearless when it comes to action. Get what you ask for, not fear. Be fair to yourself. Go out and get it. You want the bag? Go get the bag. Okay? That's why they have a fear index on Wall Street. So people get fear, they sell their stock, and they get pushed off their square. Okay? You have to understand that fear, on the other side of fear, is freedom. Lies are fear. Lies are your denial of knowing that you deserve better. That's a manifestation of your own fears. When you have dreams and you're running, those are your fears. Those are your insecurities. Those are your subconscious trying to test who you are. And when you wake up in the morning, if you fall victim to that, then that's who you are until you change. Fears limit what you can do. Does the lion worry? There are lions like myself and others that will tear them up even if they play at all. These people have no souls. There's a silent army behind all of us that have no fear. You have to live without that fear. You have to lose yourself in the moment. And when you completely lose yourself in that moment, you don't succumb to being a lowlife. You don't go to being ghetto. You live completely without insecurities and lying and all of these things. These made-up beliefs that are created through your fear and anxiety. That's why manipulators and control freaks utilize that, because they know your fears and they take advantage of your insecurities and your fears. Manipulators have no shame. They should not be let into your chambers. Do not let them. Say no. Use the word. Hold your ground. There are master gas masters out there that use manipulation, control, fear, all of these things to prevent our quantum computer, which is our mind that's connected to our heart, to make us have a lack and to make us make mistakes and not learn from our lessons and to keep making the same mistakes over and over. That misunderstanding and misinterpretation allows us to not fulfill our best life. You cannot mold and conform to those fears, because what's going to happen is that those fears are going to pervade into you, and they're like a cancer. You are going to fear everything, okay? You have to be able to walk away from fear and enter into happiness and abundance. Fear is judging. It is criticizing. It's demeaning. It is insulting. Why? Because, yes, we should all have an opinion. But sometimes those opinions come from fear and misunderstanding and judgment. Sometimes they're well-seated. You need to know the difference. And you need to know that fear is an illusion. That's why the world is all messed up, is because people have fear of each other, when in reality, there are many good people on this earth. Fear is judging. It is criticizing. It's demeaning. It is insulting. Why? Because yes, we should all have an opinion, But sometimes those opinions come from fear and misunderstanding and judgment. Sometimes they're well seated. You need to know the difference. And you need to know that fear is an illusion. That's why the world is all messed up, is because people have fear of each other, when in reality, there are many good people on this earth. One of the things that we can do to shape fear and convert it into power is changing the narratives that we give ourselves. Nature doesn't fear or worry. It lives. There's no negative inside of nature. There are negative past experiences that people hold on to. You need to clear yourself of that. You need to clear yourself of the negative mind diseases that create hate and all of these things. Fear is used for non-believers to convince you so you don't succeed. Fear is not certainty. Fear is like the fear of the unknown. You don't know anything about it, and so you imagine everything that could go wrong. Fear, it should not have any place when you have total fear. Fear is not showing up. Fear doesn't say, hey, you can do this. Fear says, wait too long, and then maybe you'll do it in the future because you want to be perfect. No. Fear is not telling the whole truth. Fear doesn't accept that you may lose sometimes, and it's okay. In one of the scriptures, it says, fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous hand. So fear nothing and pray about everything. Be strong. Trust the God's word and trust the process. Nothing could stop you unless you let it. There's nothing to fear. You're going to die one day and it's going to be darkness, and that's it. You cannot allow fear to be louder than the things that are good within us. Don't fear being who you are. Your chapters have not been written yet. The only way they will not be written is if you let fear come in. Obstacles, okay? Fear of being wrong, fear of being misunderstood, fear of failure. When you have complete understanding of your capabilities and confidence, fear disappears. So many of us are not free. We are fearful of the unknown. We look outside of ourselves. You need to look within yourself. All the answers are within you. You can't have fear of rejection. That's why salespeople, they go 1,000 calls and then they hit it big, okay? You can't have fear of speaking. You can't have fear of success. The only fear you should have is the fear of not doing what you're supposed to do, and fear of not putting your best foot forward. You should have fear of the truth. Many people fear things that they don't even see, things that they don't even understand. Fear is a non-rational worry that lacks action. Fear was created to control man, okay? Fear is one of our primary emotions, but you have to move past that. That is a primordial, hardwired fight or flight mechanism that's utilized for us to be safe. It is not in a civilized modern society. It's not for that. Fragility allows for fear to come in. That open book of fear allows all of that BS to come in. Love is a greater force for good. If you live within your heart, you could overcome any fear. You could defeat any fear. But you have to not give in to those fears. You have to embrace the unknown and the unknown things that you're going to encounter, and you have to accept them with open arms. You cannot allow the fear of pain to stop you from experiencing that pain, because that pain may result in your growth. You have to part ways with fear or people that put fear into you, because you will die with that fear. because you may either take too much of an action or not enough action because you're paralyzed by fear. Okay? People play on your fears. Your enemies, that's their number one tool. And then you're going to be playing by your enemy's rules, and they're still taking advantage of you because they're taking up space in your mind. Have no fear.